That's what they're really looking for. So be there. The second is be useful. In the business world today, we have a dialogue. It's no longer a monologue where business X says, here's what we do, take it or leave it. You now have reviews, you now have social media. So I can tell people about you, and I can sort of interact with you, which means that we need to provide an experience that's useful for people. What they've told us is, when you give me information that's useful to me, I want to come back. I want to continue to work with you. So if you're a realtor, maybe the top 10 things you're going to do in the first year with your new home. Or if you're an equine veterinarian or something, the 3 things you need to watch for every season, whatever these things are for you, provide useful content for people. That's what keeps them coming back. They don't want to hear about how great you are or the great things that you've been able to do in the past. They want something that gives value to them. So try to provide that. And third, be accountable. We have what's called a second screen dynamic today. So yes, people still watch television, but most of us here know we do it like this. We're watching it while we're holding our phones, holding our tablets, laptops on our laps. We're interacting with things while we watch. We're fragmented. So what we see now is there's a different way people view television. They're watching TV, but if I have any interest at all in the commercial that you paid for, I'm going to search for you online immediately. I'm not going to keep watching the commercial. I'm going to say, oh, that looks interesting. Let's look for them online. Let's find out more. So if you're spending a lot of money to be on television, but you're not doing the digital portion of it, you don't have a good presence digitally, you're going to lose people in the middle there. They're going to look at your commercial and say, I like what I see, try to find you online, and stop right there. So be accountable, recognize that we have that dynamic happening, and we're able to actually measure across these screens, how much cell phone interaction led to this, which then led to my sale. We can measure that impact, so be accountable. Why is now the time to be online and to use Google? I mentioned before, we don't have that linear path anymore. It's not, here's our advertisement, call us or come in. Now we can make decisions on a whim. We can explore your company one day and then a week later get back into it on our computer. We want to recognize that activity because while we are very fragmented and sort of fickle, these are very valuable touch points for marketers. And if we can recognize them and be present during them, we can win that moment at the end where they've got their credit card, they're booking a hotel, they're buying a car, whatever that is, right? Media consumption has changed considerably. We're now over 40 hours a week on devices and under 32 a week with television. And again, part of this is that transition of the TV audience, the historical TV audience, saying, yes, I'm still watching TV, but I might be doing it on my phone now. I've got TV apps, I've got Netflix, YouTube TV is coming. Get on that list now, but very cool things happening, which has made us gravitate towards devices. They're mobile, they're convenient, they're very advanced. Television, kind of gives us what it wants, and devices give us what we want when we want it. So we want to recognize that audience shift and make sure we're showing up on YouTube and in search and these places where people are going now. So last year we went over the 2 trillion mark globally for searches, so we can use the plural and say we have trillions of searches, which is really just one of those big numbers, stars in the sky, grains of sand on the beach. A lot of people use Google. That's what that means. But the real major takeaway here is that more than half of those are now happening on mobile, and it's actually over 60%. For some industries, it's 80%. What you do may actually have a customer base that uses the cell phone 82% of the time to interact with you. So if that's the case, why are we still looking at desktop websites? Why are we even considering building a desktop experience when 80% of our customers are going to us on the phone? We want to really recognize that we're not in a mobile-friendly, mobile-compatible world anymore. We're in a mobile-first. I think we've mentioned that before today too. But just kind of embrace that concept. It's not a portion of activity. This is where people go. If you're in a third world country today and you're getting internet for the first time, you're doing it on a phone. You don't have a computer, you don't have a laptop, you've got a smartphone. And that's your main channel. Effectively, they're small computers now. Technology has caught up to allow us to interact and buy things. And people have told us that these screens are not too small. In the marketing world, we thought, well, these are really cool, but who's really going to watch a movie on a cell phone? Well, everyone is the answer. Society told us this is totally cool. Tablets have, in fact, sort of lost their way. Tablets are really cool, but I see them relegated to the children, the kids a lot of times, because phones do most of the things tablets do. They're a little bigger, and they don't have their own unique identity. They're still valuable, but it's basically just a large phone that doesn't make calls. So we mentioned this stat earlier too, 40,000 Google searches every second that elapses just in our country. Even Monty Burns appreciates how much activity we have going on there. So more important than ever, that's why now is so important. You don't want to get behind on this major wave into digital. Because again, even the most aggressive analysts didn't see it coming this quickly. Wham, we're over 60%. In fact, in 2011, we were at about 15% mobile as far as internet interaction. Now we're over 60. That's a few years to have a paradigm shift in the way we interact. Very important to be on that train as it leaves. So meet Brad. He's looking to transfer to a new city with his company. He's got his lump sum and he's exploring options. What can I do? What kind of moving company can I use? How does that look? So today, this is how that process begins. And if you notice in the bottom right, we have these speech-to-text icon. People don't even have to type this stuff in anymore. You can just be driving along and say, I'm looking to move to Kansas, or hey, I'm looking to buy a home in Scottsdale. And my phone will hear that, give me a search query based on my, what I spoke there, and then I'm starting that process. I'm looking for movers near me. This is how it applies to Santa's Little Helper. Meet Santa's Little Helper. Bart's dog notices he's not interested in eating very much. He's lethargic. This is how people start the process of animal veterinary care now. Animal vet near me. Again, you might speak that into your phone, and what you're looking for is the most relevant results. I want something very close by. And that's where that near me comes in. Near me is a proximity addendum to the end of a search, which we